And we're live there, everybody. Hi, everybody. Hi, everybody. So welcome to October's Monthly Musings. Haven't been here for a while, and DebH has been hosting on her channel, and I thank her for that. And she will continue to do it at some point. We have decided that next month in November, we will be all on Nancy Jean's channel. And so she will let us know when that will be. But it's usually at the end of the month, where we come in, we talk about the month we've been through and where we're kind of heading into. So I want to welcome all of you here. Thank you so much for being here today. And thank you to all my wonderful guests. Nancy Jean from Nancy Jean's Garden. We have Kate, Dream Detective, and her black cat.
And her cupboard.
And we have Valerie from Illumination Portal, and DebH from Purple Elephant, Deb, and Diana Bowles, who's dressed like
it.
A witch.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. We got to celebrate a lot this month, actually. We have Diwali. You call it Samhain? Samhain. Okay, which is a pagan. And then, of course, you all know we have Halloween. And then next week we go into Day of the Dead, don't we?
On the first.
Well, this
is
also.
Yeah.
So the old celebration would be for 6 days, though the 13th month is a 3-day celebration. And in the old way, it would begin on the 28th, 29th, 30th, with ending on the 31st, right?
Oh, I see. Okay.
So it was the Harvest Festival. And what would happen is while everybody went to work in the fields, they would let the hearth fires burn out.
Okay.
And then they would call in the Druid priests to light the bonfire. And jack-o'-lanterns started not with pumpkins because they didn't have pumpkins over there. Squash was growing here. But what they did carve out and call a jack-o'-lantern was a turnip.
Yes.
And then they would take coal and flame and put it in the turnip and carry it home to relight the hearth fire. But there would be 3 days of celebration after that as well. So when the Catholic Church came in, or Christianity, if the Catholic Church came in, it was All Hallows Eve. Then it became All Saints Day the next day. And then the third day is All Souls Day or Day of the Dead. And then because my mother's birthday is November 3rd, I throw that in there too because, you should learn from your mother witch how to be a witch. So this is one of the 4 fire festivals of the year. And this is because it is the last big hurrah. But this 13th moon, this celebration itself was the 13th month of the year, because in reality there are 13 full moons in a year.
Oh, wow, that's cool. Okay,
that's true.
Yeah,
because there are only 28 days in a lunar cycle, and we got 30 plus.
True.
Right.
Oh,
right.
Wow.
It was
so
all that.
Not only do we have more than 24 hours in some days, but we have one more month in some years. Okay.
Yeah, that Gregorian thing.
That Gregorian.
They changed it because it didn't used to be that way.
Sure. So a couple of things I want to bring up before I turn this sort of over to each one of the ladies here who will be talking about whatever it is that they would like to discuss today. 2 things. The first thing is last night I was invited, I guess, to be on a webinar with Adam Kinzinger's group Country First. And there were about 1,000 people there, all I won't say denominations, but Republicans, Democrats, Independents.
All ideologies.
Right. All who believe that country should become before party. Yeah. So I got the chills. I really did. I like him anyway for what he stood for with the January 6th committee. I know he's a Republican, but I really like him an awful lot. And I enjoyed it. Melissa Milano was on there. Michael Fanone, the police officer who was being stick. Yeah. And a couple of other folks were there. One of them is an independent Utah running against Mike Lee, and please let him win.
Evan McMullen. His
Yeah.
name is Evan McMullen.
Evan McMullen. Very nice man. Yes. And then there was another guy that was a NASA guy who also was in the Air Force. And of course, Adam's in the Air Force. But, the point he was making was there's a lot of things that a lot of us on in this panel don't agree with, but we do agree on the most fundamental things. And that's the way everybody in the chat was as well. So if you get a chance to check it out, Country First is the name of his new, because he's not going back into Congress. He's been pushed out. Not only has he been pushed out, but he's been disenfranchised by his family and Michael Fanone by the police department. So they need us to be their family, really. And it's my pleasure to do so. So that's one thing I wanted to tell you about.
Yeah.
And I think it's fairly important for those of us who, get out the vote, Well, so talking about that, on November 8th or voting day, many of us have already voted, like myself and a few others have voted by mail, because in Washington, that's all you do is vote by mail. Is that the way it is in California as well?
You have an option. You can
have an option.
Here.
Okay.
Yeah, either way.
Yeah. So Claudia Gambaro, who is Cat Mama, came up with this wonderful idea that we should just permeate the YouTube airwaves on that day. And so I'm coming on with a few folks here. And Valerie is, Nancy Jean is. We have some other folks that are going to do it as well. Some people will come on like our channels, and some people will host themselves, because we want to just keep the momentum going in a very positive, enriching way. So that's what I wanted to say about that. In the meantime, welcome to everybody. Yes, we have a lot of folks here, and I'm very excited to see them. I have to share this because, and sorry to block you out there, Diana. Watcher says she thought she saw her deceased neighbor. Later that day, she was on her way to the mailbox. His wife called out to say she was diagnosed with cancer. So that is very interesting. Yeah, that can happen. He's worried about that. Yeah. Wow. Oh, wow. Kinzinger did vote with Trump almost all the time, but yes, being said, we can reach out and support him. He did when it came to some of the policies, and that's where we don't agree. But when push came to shove, he voted against him. He tried to get him impeached, and he certainly voted with the January 6th people and what they were doing. So yes, I agree. Yeah. Sherry, it's good to see you too. Number 2 in line for early voting. Very good, everybody. So as you can see above, right next to me here is Nancy Jean's Oracle Garden. And I'm going to let Nancy Jean work on that today. And then we'll go and have other folks talking about what they wanted to talk about for this particular show. So I'm going to shut up and let Nancy Jean go.
Okay. So you need to watch the little bitty garden. This is called the Oracle Garden. And if you haven't seen it before, I read 5 stones that I roll in here. And I channeled this vision in March of 2021. I just woke up one day and said, there has to be a way to take the crystals I work with all the time and use them to read. And I couldn't find anything. And then it said, no, because you're recreating it. This existed at some point in some universe, but we got it now. In the middle are fire, water, air, and earth, which are our most fundamental elements to our planet and to our world. And they are, as we see them, if you do shaman things, fire's to the south, water's to the west, air is to the north, and earth is to the east. And things emerge from the earth and they get washed away and cleansed and move on in better form in water. We emerge out of the fires of our past lives and the mistakes that go on in this life. That's in fire. And air is our thoughts and how things get carried forward. Then there's other, on the outer ring are all the chakras except the last one, which is the tree of life. And then the other things are just statements like go for it, true, future, present, path forward, false, restate. And all of those, for every part of this garden, I had a vision dream. It was a lovely 2 months. I don't think I ever slept. And But I learned how to roll over, turn on the recorder on my phone, say what I saw in my dream, and transcribed it the next day. And there's a whole understanding of how all these things are interlocked. But this stone is fusite, and that represents the body. This is orange yellow calcite. It represents the mind. This is amethyst. What else would it be? It represents the spirit. This is pyrite or fool's gold, and it represents grounding or your values or what pulls you back in. And this is sodalite, and it represents clarity. And those are the 5 stones I roll. So that's a quick tutorial for those of you who've never seen this done before. And the question I'm going to ask is for, you have to ask situational questions. You can't say, well, this person, it doesn't do yes or no's. It doesn't do win or lose. It sees it situationally. If you've ever read runes, they're the same way. So I'm going to toss the stones in here for the momentum within the month of November. Because you can also kind of, ooh, it's interesting. You can kind of tell time with this. This part's winter, spring, summer, and fall. And there's a whole lot of stuff that's going to happen before the 21st of December because things are leaning into the fall. But I'm going to try and do this in the order I gave you the stones. I'll tell you when I look at this, if a stone lands in 2 spaces, I have to read both of them. But like this one, it looks like it almost landed in the solar plexus, but it didn't. It landed in the heart, and I take it back. I'm going to start with the grounding because there's a woman in Puerto Rico who has taken my garden, and she's taking it to a whole nother level. And I meet with her periodically because she's seeing a whole lot of other stuff in it, and we discuss it. And one of the things, one of her visions was that if a stone lands in heart, you have to open with that because that's the major energy. So the major energy is coming out of the heart. And this is great for the month of November. It's going to encourage understanding of the things going around us in our realm. So it's not just in your head. It's actually in the physical realm we're in. Then I'm going to go to why our body's stuck here in the past. And this is great too. It says things are going to be coming to us quickly. We need to remember the things that served us in the past. Ideas, forms, any kind of movement that served us positively in the past. Our mind is in fire. And it says, do not become tied to the false energy of the past. So this is saying you need to understand from your heart. You need to look at things that worked in the past. Don't let your brain get in the way. Do it from your heart. Do it from what you feel. And then for clarity, it landed between earth and air. And when clarity is in earth, it says you have many paths ahead of you and the correct one will come to you in time. And for air, it said, be sure your thoughts are clear. So that ties back to this stone, which says, don't get too caught up in the overthinking. And then how is our spirit responding to this? This stone landed it did not make it into water. So spirit is completely in air. And it said, spirit transforms your thinking. So when you learn to read the garden, what you learned is we've learned that we needed to start from our heart. We need to think about things that have worked for us in the past and move them into new forms. Don't get tied to bad thinking. Don't get tied to things that making you overthink. Feel from your heart because your clarity is coming out of, you're going to see a lot of things, but certain things are going to focus for you, and that's what you need to follow. And your spirit is saying, make sure your thinking's clear. What I would read from this is that overthinking is going to be our biggest enemy. And whenever I get into overthinking, I get into fear. Fear, this month is going to be up and down. Some things will be very clear early in the month. Some other things are going to take a while to win themselves out. And, I used to run political campaigns, and one of the things you find out is that when you think you see a pattern and you'll start talking yourself into the fact it doesn't exist. Or no matter how much you win, you always think, well, that happened before, but then it all fell apart. Let go of the fell apart part. Let go of all of what a friend of mine used to call stinking thinking. Get your brain out of the past and move forward and see it's a new day. And if you do that, your month will run much better. And that's a general reading in the garden.
It's a good reading.
Yeah,
It is.
I love my garden. If nobody's ever heard me say that before, I love the garden, especially because it helps you find a timeline where the tarot doesn't always allow room for that.
No, you can tell time with this. If when people ask for readings with it, they will say, when's this going to happen? And I use the seasonal way. I've been told as I work with it more and other people work with it more will be revealed to us about how to use time. And that was really exciting for me because having read tarot since I was 12 and having to say to people, I have no idea when this is going to happen. But this is kind of fun. And if you're interested in learning more about the garden and seeing it up, you can go to my website, crystaldirections.com, and it'll take you to my store, and you can see how I work with crystals like this, what my grids look like, and my hidden in the background eggs.
Awesome.
They're my heart chakra eggs. And enough of my.
And I have 2 of her eggs, and they're wonderful.
Yeah,
they were.
Yeah.
I have to throw this in. I did a several question reading for a friend of mine that lives in Virginia. And one of her questions was, well, when will all this settle down? Will we get to Florida? Will we move to Florida? Will my husband get a job in Florida? Blah, blah, blah. So I eventually turned to the garden about the job and getting to Florida. And not thinking at the moment, I looked at it and said, well, you are definitely going to be settled by the fall. Well, she got a phone call. Her husband got a phone call a couple of hours after that. Well, of course, it's already fall. It was the beginning of October. And he got the job. He got the job. So, I mean, it was his fault, silly me. I didn't even it just didn't hit because it's still happening,
Sure. That's fascinating.
Well, thank you for that unpaid testimonial.
You bet.
Yeah, that's wonderful. I wanted to say that it goes along with some of the eclipse energy of old, we're going to bring back old stories, old emotions, old attachments, and we need to release and we need to process those. But the big word that I come up with, and I think it's came up in this reading, was cycles. That everything is cyclic. And so we need to look at what the cycles are, and we need to carry that into our soul's evolution. And also, if we're resistant to change, it's going to be a lot harder for us. We need to let it allow. Yeah.
So as far as eclipses go, if you think back to the last time the eclipses fell in these 2 signs, into the Scorpio and Taurus full moon, was 19 years ago.
Oh, okay.
So what cycle were you in 19 years ago? What began 19 years ago? What was
2001. 2001.
What was the lesson you were learning in 2004?
2002? Okay.
Right. So, you're at the end of the 2002 period. What was that final quarter teaching you?
Oh, a lot of shit.
Yeah. What did you let go of? What did you go forward on? And so we're back into that same cycle.
Okay.
Maybe I don't think it's at the same degree.
Okay.
But
those were the worst years of my life between 2001 and 2003. I was ready just to go to a mental institution. So.
But you let go of that, and you're in a much finer place now, correct?
Yes. Absolutely.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
And I can tell anybody who's about 73 years old that there's a finger of God is also going to be hitting our Uranus on the full moon that's coming up.
Yes, yes, and it's that's like a quincunx, and so this is a God's pointing at you and saying you better do what you're supposed to do. This is your call. This is not necessarily your job. This is your calling. Fulfill what you are being called to do. Well, let me brag a little bit because I have 4 quads and they overlap in being a preschool teacher arena and and then being a preschool teacher arena, you know? I mean, both of them they're it's Venus and Uranus in one direction, and then I have Jupiter and my moon in the other direction. And then you just reverse it, and then it goes to Jupiter with the Uranus and Venus over here. And I mean, it's
Feeling pulled.
so, and it's just phenomenal how I fell into my calling.
Right.
And
Sure.
working with preschool kids was exactly what I should have been doing. And so anybody out there should honestly just dive into your chart. You'll understand the rest of the energies by understanding your own first.
So I have a question for Valerie because I want you to say something and talk, Valerie. But why are we feeling so agitated, and why are we feeling like things are going too fast and shaking? Our reality is being all shaken up. Any clues?
Well, definitely the eclipses, and these are bouncing off the ones in the spring, and then we have the coming back up. We'll have another Scorpio, the lunar eclipse May 5th, and another Taurus eclipse in October. But so we're in the middle, right? And we're very agitated because of all the.
It's a season.
All this stuff, Well, it's the election season, definitely. It is seasonal too, but I think that's what's really, and it's worldwide. It's not just America, right?
That's true. Oh yes,
right. You were saying that yesterday.
Yeah, we're watching the old guard, Saturn, square the new Aquarius age. Uranus rules Aquarius, so they keep clashing. And they're trying to jolt us up. Well, what do you want to stay in this old dense energy where your rights and your freedoms are being taken away, or are you ready to move forward?
Move forward. Yeah.
An individual thing as well as a collective thing, because we're going to still make our individual choices when we vote, right? But
right. Absolutely.
That's going to be undecided for a little while, 100% with these energies, because we're in between eclipses, and all this stuff is being brought up to be seen and to be dealt with and then released. So what do we do? Well, we follow our heart, and that's what Nancy, Jean, and Diana were both alluding to.
Yeah.
You have to go in and you have to know what it is that you're passionate about and stay focused on that. Stay out of the dirt, because it's just going to get dirtier from here on out.
I can't watch it, and you know what? I don't really want to hear it because there's all these talking points over here, and there's all these talking points over here, and I just want to disconnect from the whole thing. It's like I'll just wait and see what happens. Yeah,
absolutely. And so on election day, we have the full moon. So already we have this opposition between the sun and the moon. And what is an opposition? It's a challenge. You can yank and pull till somebody gets killed, or you can drop the rope completely and go in your own separate directions, or you can agree to carry the rope together. Right? And so not only is the sun and the moon opposition, but we have Uranus in opposition. The nodes are in opposition. Right. Nodes always come into play with an eclipse. And we also have Venus coming into play here. So it's Uranus, the moon, and the north node in Taurus. And then we have the south node, Mercury, the sun, and Venus in Scorpio. in opposition. And then we have Saturn coming in here and poking us, giving us a T-square. But I prefer to call T-squares talent squares.
Okay.
Because you
Try to be positive.
get down to nitty gritty.
Yeah.
Many people who are famous and successful have T-squares
Okay.
because they find a way to get through the challenge. Now, what's the challenge here is Saturn, because what is Saturn but the old way, the old rule? And you can't throw the baby out with the bathwater. There's certain things that need to be hung onto. They just need to be changed.
Right.
Like put the baby in clean water.
Well, the other thing is, you saw that what happened with Chi's thing, taking that old guy out. I don't know if you saw the news, but he was the former leader of China, and they, right in the middle of everything, he had people remove him from the room, and no one's seen him since. And so,
yeah,
and then you got,
once I heard Paul Pelosi was hit.
Yeah, Paul Pelosi. That was the other thing. Yeah, then Paul Pelosi was attacked. Right. Fact, he had to go into surgery. But I guess he's doing okay. Yeah.
And I just want to say one more thing. With everything, the eclipse that we just had on the 25th was a partial solar eclipse in Scorpio.
Yeah.
Venus went right before the sun went into Scorpio. So Venus is ruling this. And what does that mean? That's your heart. Follow your heart.
Right.
She went before the sun, right? But
still.
Yeah.
And
but
still.
with those two is, and it's not a conjunction, but it's sitting there, is the South Node in Scorpio. So that's helping us release and review and restructure what that old Saturn is. It's getting rid of all that doesn't work, like the money in politics. And well, we could sit here and name everything that's not working in politics alone, and that would be, we'd be here for a few days. But that is like all the
well, one of the things they said last night was, it seems like every election is the important one. We need that, But and that's the way it has been for a long time now.
So how does an eclipse affect you as an individual?
Yeah, I know.
Right?
Yeah, really hard.
What you have to do is do the outer wheel with transits and the inner wheel with your own chart. Okay. Sure. And what house does it fall in for you? Like with this one that we just came through, well, it happened, the hour at which it was happening was in Libra. The rising sign was in Libra, which was my rising sign. I opened my eyes up. It was 4:58 in the morning here, Eastern time. We were just getting into the eclipse. And I was still coming off of this girls' weekend witchy thing that we did. And it was like, oh, hell no, I'm going back to sleep. I needed to find the balance because my Libra is in the first house. My Aries is in the seventh house, the house of Libra. And my North Node and South Node are sitting like that with my North Node in Aries. So I went back to sleep, woke up at 8 o'clock, and I still had an hour to go in which to close some of the efforts that we had begun over the weekend. Sure. So what houses does it occur, and how do those houses affect your chart,
you personally,
and what you're doing? Sure. Right. So if it's the first house, it would be the 7th. If it's the second house, it would be the 8th, and so on and so forth around the wheel. It's
across from each other. Is that what it is?
Yes.
Okay.
So maybe people don't understand that when the moon is between the sun and the earth, we have a solar eclipse because the sun is casting the shadow on the earth.
Right, on the earth. Yep.
And then when earth is between the sun and the moon, we have a lunar eclipse because the earth is casting the shadow to the moon. Okay. So it can be whatever phase the moon is in. What creates the eclipse is how close it is for the sun to one of the nodes. Okay.
Okay.
So the moon may not be in a full moon, but rather one of its quarters, one of its partial moons.
Absolutely.
And if anyone's interested, you could go to astro.com and put your birth date in, and you have to have your time, and it'll show you where the house,
Where your placements are.
is, and where Taurus is, and you can see,
Mhm.
you would see what's close to it, but it's still it's not easy to figure out a chart either. Maybe
it's a lot of information, and as much as we all try to ascertain everything, it's difficult.
Well, Astrology Cafe is a good place to get answers to
Everything. Okay. Very good.
So, Ellie, can I throw in my 2 cents?
Absolutely. Yes. You and Deb haven't said much. I got to get you in. Yeah.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
So the take that I get from this is that there are new experiences on the horizon, and that what the universe is asking us to do is to remember those events that were new before that felt strange, and how did we maneuver through them? To take the best pieces of those new experiences and know that they are a part of us now, that they're woven within us, and the things that are difficult or struggle or are uncomfortable are the things that will be highlighted for us to pay attention to. So it's not about what we were or what we might become, but what we are right now. And what we are right now is centered and focused and peaceful and calm and excited about the potential that this new energy can bring, okay? That it will upheaval, that it will bring to light. But for us to get involved into the drama, or for us to get involved into and we all know that now, right? We all know that it's so uncomfortable. It's like, no, I don't want to play with them in the playground. I want to go over here where it's comfortable and where I feel soothed and where I feel loved and where I can expand in the energy that I need to expand in. Yeah. So when you discover those relationships and you discover that, wow, I feel really terrific when this happens, or when I talk to this person, or when this person brings this information into me, then light bulbs start going off and I start to resonate with what is right for me. Because all of us have different stuff aspecting different pieces. So in the universe saying, okay, we're going to do the tug of war now. Are you ready? Pick a path, because if you're excited and you trust the universe to carry you through this for the highest good, you're going to choose that path of love. Sure. Choose that path that says excitement, joy, creativity, supportiveness, okay, the peace, all of those elements that come from the higher vibration, versus the one that go,
we don't need any more angst.
Don't hold on. Throw your hands up and laugh. Just be a part of the process and flow with the energies as they come.
And there's only now. We're not at the 8th yet. We're not at the 1st yet. It's only now.
There's only now. And so when I was listening to everybody, I kept thinking about the duality of understanding your own history and how you have succeeded through, how you have come through different experiences of struggle, different experiences of challenge. And all the universe right now is asking us to do is to hold on to and remember that we had the strength then, we have the strength now.
Right.
Not only do we have it now, but we have it supported in better ways than we did before.
Yeah.
So it's an exciting time to be on the planet, even though
we've got some issues.
Right. It's new. And so when I have people call and they say, I don't understand that, they're all in a frenzy, I'll be like, expect the unexpected and look for those spiritual surprises that are just going to lift you into another direction. Because we're going to grab that air energy. We're going to be in that state where a blow or a kiss or a wind or a breeze can completely shift us. And that shift will be a great ride. So, if we are looking at it as something to be frightened of, then you're going to be frightened of it. But look for the adventure that it truly is, which can be a very exciting place to be.
For me, last night when I was on that webinar, some of the things that were being said was, if people are fighting against you and what you believe, then just leave them behind. You can't fight with them anymore.
That's right.
And
Right.
I don't know, I was totally lifted by that whole experience.
Yes.
And I would never have thought that I would have looked at anything that any current Republican would be doing. So,
Can I can I add a little something else about, you had asked about the energies. One of the things I've been saying for the past 2 months is what? Twice, act once, think twice,
Right.
speak once.
think twice,
right?
act once. Yep.
Okay. And right now we are going to be in that pattern till January because Mars is in Gemini, and on the 30th, he goes retrograde. Now, when he's retrograde for about 6.5, 7 months all the time. But what's unusual about this one is he's going to be retrograde in Gemini for this whole period. He's not going. He's going to come out of retrograde January 23rd, something like that. But he won't get out of Gemini until March. So right now we're in this no truth, too much truth. Where is the
Where's the
take
balance?
action on anything? Every time there's a step forward, it's like we take one step back and then we sit in a chair and don't move.
Right.
Direction. It's not even like we take 2 steps back and have to hop forward. No, we just sit down the hell with it.
We just sit down and wait. Yeah.
Yeah, like this morning with the news, it was ridiculous, right?
Oh,
but
I know.
That's where that edgy angst is coming.
I understand that, and I was afraid it was going to start to happen, and it did. I didn't want to linger in that mindset because you don't want to bring it to us, but we do know we were being warned that it was coming. Yeah. Deb, I want to allow you to have something to say.
I know, Deb, yeah.
And whatever it is that you would like to talk about, your turn, girl.
I threw a Celtic cross for the
good. Okay.
meeting for October going into November. Excuse my voice, I'm not. The bottom of the deck, I got the Hermit, the search for truth.
Right.
So that is all encompassing. Everybody's looking for what is true. Well, almost everybody is looking for the truth.
Yeah.
At first, I got the 8 of Pentacles. In this deck, that represents learning. So we're already starting with the younger energy. But we're never too old. We can continue to learn no matter what age we are. Crossed by the Knight of Cups. So the energy challenging the young is this Knight of Cups. And he's appealing and he's inspiring, but he could be doing that out of emotion and not fact.
Right? Wishy-washy.
At the base, here's some more young energy, the Fool.
And we need the young energy.
Starting off on the journey, he doesn't know what's out there, just that he's going into whatever.
Right.
Crown in this reading, I get the Page of Pentacles. Now, this Page of Pentacles, that's scholarship. We're still with the young energy.
Right.
In the recent past, their search for truth, their search for victory.
Right.
In the near future, more young energy.
Oh.
The Page of Cups. No, this can be emotional, intense, but also very studious and artistic. So it's still with the young energy. Their influence is about justice. They've seen everything that's been going on, and they know when they're being lied to.
Oh, yeah.
The energy in the outside, the outward influence is loss of sleep, night terrors, thinking that things could go in a really awful way. Our hopes is the Lovers. We want to be together. We all want to be together. And the young energy sees that. And they don't have the same, they weren't raised with the same kind of boxes and labels that we were. They accept everyone on their level, whatever it is. They don't see color, gender. They don't see any of that. Their friends are the ones that are being ostracized by our government. Their friends, their mothers, their sisters. So for my final outcome, I get the Queen of Cups. She is the divine feminine energy.
Wow.
We, as the crone energy, we're holding up the light and showing them where they need to go. But it's the young ones. It's the young people. They are the ones coming that are going to change it. Our job is to stand here and hold the light and say, this is how you go. And their job is to actually change it. And the reading I get is that they are stepping into it and they're going to accept the responsibility.
It's like they're coming to mommy for information. Mommy, tell me what to do.
Yes.
Mommy is always right. And she'll
the search for truth
afterwards.
Yes.
But they're making their own choices as well because they're doing the learning. Right.
That's it.
Awesome.
Allie, can I say something from the outside world? I have a lot of friends still working on campaigns. I used to work on campaigns. And what you saw, Deb, is exactly true. They are absolutely shocked at the number of young people that are voting.
Yes.
I mean, you know, they're out there, they're seeing that they know. And, you know, I think about how different, I kind of have 40-year-old kids and then a early 30s kid. And even the 40-year-old kids kind of look at the early 30s and goes, But if you're my age and you're around during Vietnam, you know that's what we did. It wasn't.
These are the reincarnates of some of those Vietnam people.
It wasn't theoretical. Our friends were dying, and Nixon was still sitting in the White House. So
that I have to tell you, I work with, of course, really young people between 15 and let's say 30, and they don't read magazines, they don't read the news, they only look at their phone for everything that they do, and they aren't called for polls. So we have no idea what they want to do.
Well, they're not called for polls because most polling experts, unless they really specialize in doing face-to-face polls, they go for likely voters, and a likely voter is someone who's voted 3 times. So you can't.
They don't bother to ask.
You can't vote till you're 18. That means you're going to probably be 23, 24 before anybody maybe can find your phone number. And these,
and if it's a cell phone, how are they going to? They may not even get it. Yeah, that's true.
Oh, I think they'll find it.
Just all the people trying to sell us car warranty insurance.
So Deb, she has grandkids, 13 and 14. They're going to rise like a bat out of hell, and people laugh at me when I say they're different. They are different. They are. And some of them are star seeds, of course.
They're star seeds. They're the indigo children. They are the ones who will change the world.
Absolutely.
Well, we hold the light, and we're holding that light. You know, there's many of us now, and we're all over the globe, and we're taking that, and we raised them. We raised a lot of these kids, or these were our grandkids, you know, and they don't have any prejudice. They don't.
They don't. Yeah, most of them don't. Right. Yep. No, they are. They're really wonderful, and I think that most of us, maybe not everybody, but I raise my kids, and I always let them go, if you know what I mean. They had their own thoughts about things, and mine are in their 30s and 40s. So there's a whole different generation there, of course. But my husband's granddaughter is 22, and my niece who's visiting us is 25, and they're incredible. They just blow my mind. They do. They blow my mind.
They're the ones. They're the ones we've been waiting for.
That's right, Deb. Beautiful Celtic cross. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. And Nancy, I loved your message.
Yeah.
Astrologers, your message. Kate, I always love your messages. You walk in light, Kate, and you bring that to the rest of us. And so that's wonderful. Anybody want to say anything more about anything coming up for you, or anything else you want to say about this energy?
I'd like some prayers for my weekend.
Okay.
I foolishly agreed to do a Halloween party. So that's Saturday night. I'm doing in-person readings from noon to 5 on Saturday. Then I'm doing a Halloween party. Then I'm doing Scott Allen in the morning. And then I'm doing in live personal readings from noon to 5 on Sunday. So don't call me Monday, guys.
Can you ask your people that you're reading for to wear masks? I don't know if you can, but
no,
you don't need COVID again.
No, the store I'm in, that's what they do. That's why I'm going back. I'm going back. It's my kind of last hurrah to the lady who let me read graciously in her store for 5 years. It's a vintage clothing store here in Dallas.
Right.
And she's very particular. And she just said, I talked to her about it. And since I'm going to go out and play foolishly in the real world on Saturday night, I said, let's just make a weekend of it. And already I think, well, we were only going to do Sundays. And when people found out I was going to be back in the real flesh, they had so many calls about it that she asked me if I'd come Saturday and Sunday because I wanted to disappoint people. But after that, then I actually want to do this now because my guides are really good about telling me when to come home. They pulled me out of the world a month before the rest of the world stopped. So they said, this is a safe window, but as soon as it starts to get really cold, and we've had wet, cold, rainy days, and we've had incredible early vote turnout. I mean, in Texas, don't go out in cold rain, guys.
I know they don't. We're all pulling for Beto. Oh my God, yes.
Yes.
And you saw what happened to Ted Cruz in New York. Oh, I wish they were voting. I wish they were voting for.
Trust me, there's people in Texas who'd want to do that to him too. I'd like to put him in the toilet stall and lock the door permanently. Let him figure it out.
So Viviani's right. Let's pray for Brazil so Bolsonaro gets the out.
Yes, ma'am.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yes,
and
that's the thing too. This is not a local thing. It's a global.
It's around the world.
It is global
thing.
Yeah.
So
sure.
It's
prayers for Ukraine.
Yes.
It hasn't stopped my altercation.
And Iran. Yes.
Yes. And even for Russia, so that because the people are not the government.
Right.
Yes.
And they're trying their damnedest. The people are trying their darndest to make something change.
Yeah.
Sure.
So I don't
in here. What it is ain't exactly clear. There's a man with a gun over there telling me I got to beware. Think it's time we stop children. What's that sound? Everybody was going down.
Yeah.
Gee, that was our battle cry, right, Nancy?
All right. Yes, it was.
It was.
So I have a friend, I call it a friend with quotes around it, but there's a channel I watch and I posted it actually on my community page. And it's the Shikos family, Sheekoz. They are in Russia, and he's posted for years about his family and all kinds of things. He's in the position where he's trying to leave because he says things are very, very scary. And so just if you get a chance to check out his channel, I would love it. It's the Shikos. Yep. I'll write it here in the chat too.
Okay.
The Shikos family. Used to be just Dan Shikos, but he's got, I don't know, he's got like hundreds of maybe 200,000 subscribers or something all over the world. But they said that anybody will help them, and I know that is true. He learned English by watching American movie.
So did I.
And he, yep, and he calls us all hello adorables. He calls us all adorables. I know.
That's great.
Yeah, absolutely.
We
Yeah.
just look for the unexpected surprises because even though it's intense, I truly believe that there are some really delightful little hidden treasures coming our way too.
Oh,
So
think so.
look for them. Look for
Definitely.
those hidden special treasures, those surprises.
Celebrate those.
Yeah,
That's right.
in your day.
This is a cycle, right? And this isn't always going to be like this.
No.
It's not going to
Right.
be this intense. For we're going to get into Pluto's going to get into Aquarius 2024, 2025. But in the meantime, it is clearing all of that is
Karma.
no longer for
Well-
we the people by the people, right?
Right,
And
yeah.
whatever you feel, you'll know what's leaving in your life. You'll
Mhm.
know what you need to release. And as soon as you release it, like Kate says, something new comes, so everything's a cycle. But it's,
Yeah.
And
it
the
will
thing
change.
about getting out of bad thinking is if a thought shows up in your head and it makes you feel uneasy, just say thank you for sharing and let it go.
Yeah.
Do not think, well, how can I get away from it? Or, just say, no, you don't belong here. And if you really want to do deep work, try to hear whose voice it is. And that's the person who you need to not live rent free in your head.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's wonderful. Wow.
It's all
Well,
old programming, right? It's all old programming, just like
It is no problem.
our
Yeah.
systems and our government and our society is old programming. It's not life affirming. We're moving to
Right.
life affirming. And
Mhm.
in the meantime, this little chaos got to fight its way out, duke it out, but we're going to go to the other side.
We're just going to carry our lightsabers, the ones
Yeah.
that you can't see. Yeah.
Mhm.
And it's all part of the ascension, and it,
Mhm.
Valerie mentioned it the other day while we were chit chatting, and we were on the course for that when Kennedy was assassinated, and
Mhm.
it threw us backwards and sat us down.
Mhm. And stay
And
connected
we
to the
can't
ones
even
that,
blame the dragon for that one. you
Yeah.
know?
be sure and stay connected to the ones that bring you up. They keep
Right.
you, right? They give you, that feed your soul. Because
That's
those are the ones that you share your strength with that energetic transfer of energy. And they're so special. All of you guys are so special for providing that energy to all of us here and to the ladies and everybody in the chat
Yeah,
as well.
In the chat. Yeah.
To have those
They're always so
opportunities.
good to each other in the chat.
They are.
Everybody's so supportive
So
and loving.
sweetness.
Yeah. It's very, very wonderful.
Thank you, Allie, for doing this.
Oh, of
Yeah.
course. Thank you.
So, Allie, one more quick thing. If you really are struggling in a moment, just put yourself in a violet flame.
Mhm.
Right.
Violet
Yep.
flame will dissipate any of that stuff. Sometimes we got to look at the things that are talking to us that are whatever, that are attacking our mind, and you got to say, okay, where's this come from? I release you. Just like Nancy Jean said, look at it, tell it, okay, I no longer need you here with me.
And Nancy Jean, you have the violet flame prayer. Can you post
And she
that
has a head
for
of
us
violet
again?
flame.
Yeah, I have
Look at the
it's on
three of
the
you.
top of my head.
I know. I need to go back and do my hair.
I have, if you go to my website, crystaldirections.com, and that's
Mhm.
directions with an S on the directions, there's a tab called resources.
Okay.
You can pull down the violet flame. If you can't find it there, you're going to have to spell it out anyway. It's crystaldirections.nancyjean@gmail, and I'll be glad to send you a PDF of it. It's a PDF on my resources too, but it's probably the single thing I've given out the most. I think I quit counting at like 450.
Wow.
It's a very powerful prayer. I gave it to a
It
woman
is.
yesterday who I've been reading for 7 years, and she's going through a hideous divorce and separation with a suicidal weirdo. Well, she married him. What can I say? But I sent it to her, and she did it all around her house, and she said, I was right. There was energy that when you get into fear, you can suck in energy you don't even know you've let in.
The
Right.
succubus is ready to knock down the door, and you don't even hear it.
That's right. So if you're interested in that, and it's a real, it's a little, it talks about archangels and stuff, but Zadkiel, so when you're praying to. But it also has a golden tube of light, which you can use, which I have to use every day to leave my house. And this is before COVID, guys, because otherwise everybody's thoughts would be on. And so I had to learn how to protect myself. So there's 3 different levels of prayer there, and they just say it out loud and see what happens. I had a woman
go do it right now.
I had a woman who did it in her living room who was taking my garden course, and she thought, "Oh, well, this is kind of fun. I'll just read this." And she went, "I think I'm nuts. It looks lighter in here." So she went around her whole house.
Wow.
And then she had a friend come over and visit her the next day, and she said, "Oh, did you get new curtains? It's so much better."
No, I dusted.
I just busted with Archangel Zadkiel, but
Really?
So cute.
But if you want to go there, go get that. And I look forward to inviting you all over to my garden. Next, we have not yet picked a date because we got a whole lot. There are a mix of people in this, but I look forward to having you come over there. I do live shows on Tuesdays and Thursdays normally. The one thing I didn't talk about, Allie, and I'm going to talk about it right now, and I'll be really quick. I have a dragon named Cecil, and he takes me to the elementals to understand that energy. And now y'all are thinking, I'm not going near that woman's channel. She's growing something in that garden that she shouldn't be growing. But
I'm aware of it, and you're not alone, honey.
because of their explaining to me why we need to understand the earth energies. In sort of the middle of November, I'm going to have a guy come over who's going to be on my channel, who's an earth energies person. He can teach you how to douse, how to get ley lines that are misplaced out of your house, how to do and how to move all that stuff, which is stuff we don't have a lot of people on this side of the Atlantic doing. They have to do it over there. He's in England, and where he lives, it's crawling with energy. But anyway, so I got those things coming up. So if you want that garden, MJ 420, go to my website. You can find them there.
That's right. You'll find it there. So Deb, what's coming up? Deb, what's coming up for you? Anything?
I am a guest on Gertrude Shu's channel on Monday.
Great.
I don't know what we'll be discussing, but we'll be discussing something and having mini readings. I have Dream Detective Kate coming up on Friday next week.
Next Friday.
Okay. We're going to be having a kitchen coffee table talk.
Okay.
And then I've got a few other things coming up later on. So
okay. Sounds good. Sounds good. Valerie, anything coming up for you?
Well, I have I'm putting out the law of polarity for my 12 universal spiritual laws. That's the next law coming up. But Diana and I are getting together, and we're going to do a couple of things. Definitely. I think we're doing something on the 8th, but we do want to talk to people who are interested about this astrology before the actual.
Before that.
Yeah,
right.
It's a total of lunar eclipse in Taurus. So you might want to, like, if there's stuff to work on, you can do that now and calm yourself now. But we have a couple other things that we're going to be doing too.
Up your sleeve, huh? Okay.
And Kate and I think are going to do something too. So
yeah,
excellent.
And so when we're in this holding space pattern, right, for on the 8th, what kind of time frame? When is it really? What's like? Who's starting first, and what's on third, and who's on?
Right now, I've got Jane the Seeker going to do it on her regular show, which is at 9 a.m. Eastern time, 9:15, maybe something like that.
Yeah.
I am coming on at noon my time, and some folks are coming on with me, but that would be 3 o'clock Eastern time.
Okay.
Valerie, I'm not sure what time you're coming on. You don't know yet?
yeah,
Okay.
Diana,
I'm sure, yeah.
we're going to talk after this.
I'm
Okay.
coming on at 1 Central Daylight Time till we're doing 2 hours. I'm going to be on with Elite from Vibrational Astrology, and she's going to be teaching. She's going to do a demonstration of Mongolian shaman throat singing.
Ooh.
That's
kind
kind
of cool.
different.
Yeah.
And then we're going to talk about some spiritual tricks I've learned over the years to.
Okay.
And we're also going to take live questions in the garden, or I'm going to have my past life cards out. So
Okay. Sounds
Ooh,
good.
I love your past life readings. They're great. Everybody's are great.
Yeah.
Katie, what do you? You right now. Your daughter's coming, so you're kind of limited with what
Yes.
you're going to be doing. But you and I are going to be doing another Dream Detective show about a book that we're working through.
That's true.
Probably not till after your daughter leaves, I would imagine, but we'll be doing that. Anything else besides working with Deb?
With Deb, well, there's stuff in the musings. So I have another short coming up.
Good.
But I am setting aside some time with my daughter. She's coming from Spain, and I haven't seen her in 2 years. And she's bringing with her the love of her life, and so that focus has to be on them, which I'm really, really excited.
I understand. No,
I'm practicing Spanish. It's pretty funny.
Oh, cool.
So we'll see. I know how to tell him what restaurant we might go to.
Oh, okay.
About it at this point. But I have a mini coming out. I have Valerie. I have Deb. In the works, and of course our Dream Detective work, which I've been thinking about doing a pop-up live if you're interested in that.
Yep,
too.
we can do that.
The different time zones, right? Because some folks are getting ready to put their head on the pillow just as we're getting up.
Just as we're ready up. That's absolutely true.
Yeah,
we'll talk about it. We'll talk about
that'd be
it.
great.
Yeah. Wonderful. So I have I'm going to be on with Kim and Susan Lynn next week, and I have Linda G coming on 11/11 with Andre Kauer, the astrologer. Nice. So I'm looking forward to that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Cool. All right, everyone. Take care of yourselves. Thank you, ladies, for all your information. Thank you to all of those in the chat. We love you so much, and we wouldn't be here without you. So thank you from all of us. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye.